Hey y'all, welcome to Behind the Mic, powered by REVOLT Podcast Network. Now, this is a brand new podcast. This is our trailer, so I appreciate you all tapping in here and starting at step one. Like, we've all played board games in the past, and this is step one right here. You're learning more about who I am, you're learning more about what the podcast is about, and you're learning more about why you're here. And I'm going to use this podcast as an opportunity to tell you why you're here and get you to subscribe to the podcast right now. not later, but actually right now. So go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Shout out to YouTube as well too. We out there. But go over to those platforms, subscribe, follow, all the things. Tap into at REVOLT Podcast Network on Instagram and TikTok and Threads. And of course, you can tap in with us at REVOLT Podcast on Twitter now, because we still calling it that. My no X. Anyway, so here's a bit about me. So you all may know already, but my name is Wize Grazette. I'm the host of this amazing podcast, but also I'm a podcast enthusiast. You'll hear me say that a lot this season. I've been involved in podcasting since the year 2011, actually. Started, shout out to my homegirl, Jolo, and the Jolo Experience. Started over at Hunter College, and from there, I've just been involved in podcasting, whether it's my own show, through the Encore Radio Show, or the PLC Report, or if it's through my podcast network, the Indie Creative Network, where I've helped hundreds of podcasters and interested podcast hobbyists to get involved in the space, learn more about what it brings, and, for me to be able to help the storytellers, which is really important to me, help those storytellers tell their stories in a way where I understand that, technically things might be complicated for folks. That's where I step in. So what is Behind the Mic, powered by REVOLT Podcast Network? So Behind the Mic is a podcast that I created to help tell the stories about the amazing podcasters that we have at REVOLT Podcast Network. Now, I didn't really share this before, but I am and have been the community manager for REVOLT Podcast Network since April of 2024. So I've had an opportunity to meet a ton of podcasters. We brought on a new class. Shout out to the summer class 2024. Our winter class 2024, we're planning for that right now. And there are so many amazing podcasts on the network. You can only imagine the amount of amazing podcasters and people, individuals, that are part of those shows. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to highlight those people so you guys can get an opportunity to hear some of their stories. And let me tell you, I've heard some amazing stories from magicians.
I got reached out to by one of the members of the National Association of Black Magicians, which I didn't know existed. And next thing you know, I'm out here, getting magical myself.
To singers.
There's 1,000 words that I can say to make you come on, girl. Seems so long ago you walked away, left me alone.
To people becoming full-time influencers.
I am a veteran turned entrepreneur. I am just an outgoing spirit, super empathetic. I love supporting. I love community. And overall, I just like being around people. That's what gives me energy.
So many amazing creatives, and I can't wait to share them with you. In each episode, all under 20 minutes, we take a quick dive into who these people are. Of course, a little bit about their podcast itself, but what is it that makes them him or her or them or they? Whomever it is in the podcast network, we want to make sure how it is that they got to where they are now, today. So with that being said, one of the things that I really want to accomplish in 2025 is helping all of my podcasters get new listeners, get more visibility for their show, get more visibility for who they are. So the one thing I'm asking each and every one of you who are listening to this podcast, to make sure that you are following all those people, you are checking out their podcast, and you're giving them an honest listen so that all their work doesn't go to vain. And I know you all love me, so I know all of my work isn't going to go in vain either. So I've rambled on for quite some time, so I'm going to try and wrap this up right now. You can listen to this podcast every single Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and all of your favorite podcast platforms. We will have visuals for this podcast for every single episode. And of course, it's a podcast. We got the audio locked down for you as well, too. If you want to tap in with us on socials, you can follow me at The Real Wize, Wize. I want to thank you all for taking the opportunity to sit down and listen to this trailer. And don't let me slow you down. Hit that follow button or subscribe to the podcast. Make sure that you are tapped in every single Mondays. We're coming out weekly. So just know, Monday morning, when you on your way to work or you vibing or whatever it is, depending on where you are in the world, tap in. There will be a new episode. All right. Don't let me slow you down. Go play episode 1. Hope you enjoy. Behind the Mic, powered by REVOLT Podcast Network, is hosted by me, Wize Grazette. Special thanks to the Indie Creative Network and StoryTime Studios for editing and producing this podcast.